Alright guys, I'm here with Ahmed. He is the rapper behind the album The Truth Right Here, and we have a couple questions for him. So I guess starting off, are you originally from Valdosta?
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually from West Side, Valdosta, Georgia. So,
So what inspired you to start rapping?
uh, I mean, well, pain. I mean, my childhood. I grew up. When I was a kid, it was just musically. Music always eased my pain when I was a kid. So I used to listen to it a lot. And as a kid, I always knew how to rap. I would take certain songs that I like and I would repeat them, but I would put my own words into it. But I never told nobody. But I used to do that for fun time. It was kind of like prayer for me. So that's how I actually started rapping to ease my pain. Tell you the truth.
Was there any person in particular that inspired you, or any event or anything like that?
Uh, Let me see. Well, I mean, I never looked up to too many TV people. I mean, you know, your Michael Jordan, stuff like that. But as far as music, I listened to him, but I always had a. My father was always there, so he was always real, my real role model, and then my brothers, and the people I grew up around. I mean, even the good and the bad, I learned from all of them. So that was really my motivation. My motivation was always the life that I seen, and the life I seen other people live. I took from their aspects and created my own, and I wanted to be better than them. You know, they was telling me to be better. But as far as TV, I mean, I listen to a lot of people, but only people really touched me like that as far as a rapper was Tupac really, and you know, and that was because the music he rapped, you know, it was kind of like he kind of reminded me of my father because everything he rapped about, I have to wake up to every day. You know, other rappers make good music too, but I couldn't really relate to them because the stuff they talking about I didn't live. But it's like, you know, living a life with somebody telling you about it, and they, you know, it touches you. It's kind of like he right there talking to you because everything he's saying, I gotta wake up to every day. So that's probably about it.
So how long have you been doing this seriously?
Uh, I've been doing it seriously since the day my mother died. It was August 14, 2005. I've been knew how to do it. I used to play around with it in high school, you know, do it like freestyle battles, classroom, practice, stuff like that, and around the neighborhood and the streets, other venues. But I didn't really take it seriously till my mother died, like as far as becoming an artist.
And do you feel like because of what you talk about and sing about that people embrace you and can relate to you better?
I think I mean, with one thing I learned about when you become an artist is musically. I know a lot of people say, you know, I make music for everyone, but I just don't think that's logical. It's kind of like everyone's not the same, so you can't make music for everyone. You have to make music for you have to make music for who you are and the people that are like you. Now, the people that are not like you, it's not saying they can't listen to your music, but it's bringing them into your world and letting them understand where you come from and respect it. Because I was always taught that truth doesn't have a boundary. It doesn't have a color, nothing. It's just anyone real can relate to anybody's truth. Someone who lives the life I live, they might like it. They understand it more. So to them, it's like a role model thing for them. Well, he made it from the same I made it from, so it's inspiration. So this other kid that might not grew up like I grew up, he might not exactly understand what I mean. He might just like how I sound. But you know, then I could bring that kid I can bring into my world, and he can see it from my point of view. Like, oh, okay, you know, and it can give him a better, broader how to see people that come from where I come from, or why they do the certain things they do, or why they act like they act. You know, so that's as far as I think about that.
Well, with that being said, how do you feel about hip hop and artists today?
I know this is gonna sound funny. Well, I mean, the only thing I think good about hip hop music today is the money. I mean, you can get, you can get have a lot, you can live a luxury life off of it because that's a lot of money to me. But as far as what it was created off of, I think hip hop is dead. I mean, that's just my personal opinion because it's not generated off of creativity and truth no more. It's all about glorification. It's about what looks like something. It's like you don't have to be nobody to be somebody. When I was growing up, you know, other rappers like, you know, Wu-Tang, people like that, they actually paid their dues, but that the money was like the first thing, but the art was the first thing because it was like expressing their life to keep them out of trouble. So they actually put their truth in their music. You know, the money gonna come because that's a business. But nowadays people put the money before the art, and that's why I think it's totally to me it sucked. I mean, everyone is the same. You know, when I was growing up, you might have had. I mean, you gonna have part of music. I had nothing against part of music, but this is reality. It's too many problems in the world for everyone to talk about the same exact thing. People act like problems don't exist. So I feel like for you to say you're a hip hop artist, which hip hop comes from, you know, the urban community, how you gonna say you're a real hip hop artist? But all you talk about is partying. And when you go to urban communities, you don't see people partying every day. I mean, you might see that at clubs, you know, that's like other venue, but people in urban communities or anywhere, period, but especially like hip hop areas, people are hurting every day. I mean, you have welfare, you have violence, you have diseases, you have drugs. Like, it's more to life than a party. So for you to say you're a real person, but you don't have no real morals, then your music can't be real. I believe for you to make real music, you have to be a real person, whether you do hip hop, R&B, rock and roll, or whatever. But hip hop today is dead, and I think the few rappers that are doing hip hop, I mean, they've been around like Jay-Z, you know, he's a legend, but he's been around for like 20 years. When he has to be the one to still carry the torch, I mean, he's supposed to be the type of person that's supposed to set his feet up and let the next generation take from where they left off. But when he still got to make albums every year, Nas, Outkast, we talking about veterans. Like, they was out when we was like 5 and 6 years old. So when they have to carry the torch, then something's really wrong. And that's how I look at it.
Well, what